The collectivity of the board has lost confidence in you. And all I can say is that statesmanship can win the day any time. And if things are unresolvable even after all that, then the courts are there to resolve it. But to think that the board cannot, in its collective wisdom, decide something, well, that obviously would be wrong.
So one question which I'm tempted to ask you, and this is an issue that has been raised by the other camp, which is the Cyrus Mistry camp, which is that it came as a bolt from the blue for Mr. Cyrus Mistry, and he, in fact, in an email to the employees of Tata, has termed this decision of the board to oust him as illegal and ill-valid. So, therefore, I'm tempted to ask you, under what circumstances is a notice not required when the board has decided to oust a chairman?
Anybody, and Mr. Mistry certainly is entitled to his views, and I'm not here to refute or get into an engagement on that issue with him or quay him. I think it may be a misunderstanding of law to suggest that when a collective decision is taken by the board, it is prohibited or restrained from taking that decision without some kind of a formal notice. That, according to me, may not be a correct understanding of law, but anybody is entitled to take that point of view and then, test it in law. But all I'm saying is that here is not a case of a third-party contractor or an outsider. This is a case of a board deciding amongst itself about one of its members, howsoever regrettably, and that stands on a totally different footing.
So, in this particular case, there's also the question of there perhaps being suppression of the minority shareholder rights by the majority shareholder, because at the end of the day, it was a majority decision of the board in its collective wisdom, and the chairman was asked to leave. Your thoughts on this aspect, sir?
Well, surely anybody can have that grievance that can be tested in court. I don't think there is any legal principle whereby chairmen are treated as minority shareholders. I don't think there's any principle where chairman appointments and removals are subject to concepts of oppression, etc. But individual shareholders can have a grievance. How can I opine? Because I'm not that shareholder. I'm not that representing that party. If somebody has a grievance, let us see.
So would it be safe to assume that any court, whether it is the High Court or perhaps the National Company Law Tribunal, would have jurisdiction in such a matter only and only if there is a gross violation of the law?
As a general principle, it's absolutely correct that courts are very hesitant and restrained before they interfere, except in very, very patent situations. And therefore, I think the kind of restraint shown by everybody till now is, I think, commendable.
So restraint has definitely been shown by both the parties, but of course any smart corporate would like to ring fence its interest, and therefore the caveats have been filed at multiple legal forums to avoid any ex parte orders.
Oh, no, this caveat business I'm a little amused by. It sounds like a big, what is known as a shattering ram or a sledgehammer.
It is a procedural issue, sir.
It's been painted like a sledgehammer since yesterday by people. A caveat is nothing except a procedure which is hallowed and old and ancient in law, which merely acts as an early warning system to a person who wants this before something adverse to him is happening. It is at best a self-protective, self-defense mechanism, that too sounding only in notice.
Currently, it is being perceived as a bitter legal slugfest or a potential bitter legal slugfest. In these circumstances, don't you think a mediation would be the best way to resolve the issue?
I have believed, in fact, that mediation is always the best way, but that is not for me to opine. I mean, how can I? Mediations are not imposed. Mediations are not suggested by persons who can impose the will upon the other. This is something which people can always work out amongst themselves, but in a corporate context, it's not just a mediation between two private parties. This is a large corporation. A collectivity can always sort out things.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNowLive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/ETNow.